I'm Sophia Louisa Lee. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of So Zoom In. I love bringing you people who are in the creative flow. Please hit like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it because I love bringing you people who are just making life happen. I am bringing to you today Dr. James Dentley. I should say Sir Dr. James Dentley. He has been knighted, which we will talk about. He is a true mover and shaker, a best-selling author, a philanthropist, an overall amazing soul who has founded JD3TV and is up to so many things. So I look forward to having him. So thank you so much for watching, and here we go. Hi, Sir Dr. James Dentley.
Ah,
I like that, Sir Doctor. I like that a lot. How are you doing?
Thank you. Just all in the days of the title. I'm doing wonderful.
You know,
what are we doing today?
Doing great. I have to say, you are truly an amazing person. Okay. You have such a huge heart, and your soul is just so inspirational. You give so much, so many. It's like, you're a best-selling author, you're a philanthropist, you started JD3TV, so you're giving so many opportunities to filmmakers. Mm-hmm. You're in this creative flow on so many levels. You're inspiring.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And I'm so grateful to have you on my show. So thank you so much for joining me.
Well, okay. Fantastic.
So 2022 has been quite the year for you. Right?
Mm-hmm. Every year is a great year for me, but go ahead. Okay.
All right. How exactly was it that you came to be knighted? Because that's something you don't hear about too often.
Well, when you move into knighthood with the House of Cappadocia and St. Helen and Constantine the Great, there are 8 categories in which you can be knighted into. And philanthropy is one, business excellence is another, arts, it could be a sports figure, but they look at it similar to a Nobel Peace Prize, their standards. And I had a dear friend that I worked together with in business. He actually was the executive producer of Think and Grow Rich, the Legacy movie. And I would speak often on his stage, but we met at the City Gala and City Summit, which was a big organization that just was anchored in philanthropy and just making a difference and serving nonprofits, helping nonprofits get the bandwidth, so to speak, and also be able to raise money and get the exposure needed to continue to grow and to feature people for doing the great work. So I was actually the first recipient of the Legacy Award, which is actually over my shoulder for that. It never on this counter for that organization, and I met him there. And he happened to have been a count in that royal order. So he actually asked me in 2020, early 2020, if I would be interested in knighthood. And I understood the value of that, especially the honor of that, being a global recognition with global recognition. So I said, sure. But then COVID came, it happened, and it didn't go away. So we were supposed to fly to Spain to be knighted by Prince Raphael. And COVID just stopped it and shut it all down. And then in November of 2021, we were going to come in, but then some things happened in Spain and a re-emergence of COVID, and it stopped that. And that's why in February 22, I was knighted. And since then, I've been now raised into a Grand Red Royal Cross and now a Grand Prior in the next 2 weeks, which is like a governorship of this region of Illinois.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, definitely well-deserved because you give so much to so many people. You work with different foundations for women, young children, disabled people. Mm-hmm. What inspired you to start doing that? At what point did you feel like you wanted to give back some way?
Wow. As a small child, I used to read about the Kennedy family and how Rose Kennedy made sure all of her children were involved in nonprofit. And I always thought that was so cool. It was a way for everyone to come together. And as I grew up and I got into my 20s, I said, wow, it'd be so nice to be on somebody's board with a nonprofit or any organization, but how do you get on the board? Who wants me on a board? And it's kind of interesting because now I'm on everybody's board. But actually, I was inspired to to give back, beginning with my church and their organization, Destination Safe Haven, and Sociable Seniors. So I was a big part of what they were doing, serving children, helping make education fun, keeping kids safe. And I found that there was a big need because they were getting their food from Chicago public schools. And they would have generic peanut butter and jelly, and the jelly would be coming through the middle of the bread, and frozen fruit and Doritos. How healthy could that be? And the frozen fruit is melting in the bag, so everything's soggy and wet. I said, no, this won't do. We have to do better than that. So my wife and I, we formed our organization, Already Always Amazing, which stands for Amazing Children, Amazing Veterans, Amazing Seniors, Amazing Youth. And we would supply great breakfast and great lunch, catered meals every single day. And then we recognized, Sophia, that those kids didn't have food at home, and they had siblings that weren't able to eat. So we made sure that we had additional food. And I mean, they ate really, really good food. They ate some good food. So chicken and waffles, it was really cool. And then we also funded their banquet, and then for the curriculum to fund some of the activities and the program itself and the help they needed to run that program with about 100 children. We moved from that to helping children write their own book or write a story. You know, I believe a life worth living is worth recording, as I released my documentary even this year. But I wanted to make sure that kids got their story out early. So first and foremost, they can recognize and have something to reflect upon about their childhood. Because once I did my documentary and released it, I realized that we look at our life in sound bites. We don't keep the story connected. And when the story is connected, then you know exactly why you are wherever you are right now. And you can correct it, or you can pour gasoline on it and you can just take it to another place. So to help those children to write those books, and those people who finished their task, we took about 24 kids and 24 parents to Disneyland. Everything from transportation to the airport, their flights, their hotel, transportation to the hotel, a bus to take them back and forth to Disney, Comic-Con tickets because they had the Comic-Con weekend, per diem. They just had a great time. And that really was a big joy, just to make a difference in their lives. So we did a lot of things with them and with seniors, and then with veterans as well.
That's so exciting. Well, you definitely changed lives by doing that. And it may not, it's like each person you touch, you are changing their life. That's so exciting. And you are of service. And I think that's part of what life is about, is to somehow be of service. And you do so much. Part of it, you are an international speaker. You're going to Dubai shortly, I believe, in a few months. February, is it?
Well, they moved it to March.
March, okay.
Yeah.
So you go around and you inspire people.
Yeah.
I love that. I just find that so exciting. But how did you make that a livelihood? Because it's kind of hard, because I don't see people saying, okay, this is what I want to do. Or did you want to do that?
No, not at all. I was afraid of speaking in public, and I've trained speakers, and we've been all over the world and taken groups all over the world to brand them as international speakers. I actually started in the home-based business arena, and I was the biggest skeptic of them all. I didn't want to try it, look at it, and someone deceived me and put me in a meeting, and I was so upset, but I kept it inside. And at the end of the meeting, I said, okay, I'll try it. And I accidentally made millions of dollars.
Accidentally.
Yeah, accident. But part of it was you had to train and you had to do presentations. And I got really, really good at it. And that company was really good in teaching us not just how to do something, but the psychology behind it. And more importantly, who you would have to become in order to achieve a certain level of success and then sustain it. So it started with that, with talking in front of maybe 10 people or 7. And then next thing you know, it was 20,000 people at a time. And next thing you know, it's all over the world with translators. And it got to be really good. But I got really good at it, and I studied it and worked on it. And I've been training speakers now for almost a quarter of a century.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you are a doctor, so you have your doctorate in
divinity. Oh,
I love that. Now, okay, all right. I just want to give you a hug, because I do, because I really feel like right now people just need to be inspired,
Yeah.
and to be inspired through God, through love, that changes everything. And
Yes.
that's what you do. So the documentary you did, excuse me, I'm getting all choked up. Sorry. The Power of Thought. That was your first documentary that you did yourself.
Well, no, that the first well, first of all, my personal documentary on my life story, Time to Win. We did a premiere of that May 15th of 2022 of this year. And then we helped bring Power of Thought to the film festivals. And then I'm also a part and a character in the Beyond Limitations. And that will be released in January 2023. Yeah.
So, everything what you do, excuse me, I am getting all choked up here. Apologies. It's all about thought, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember reading Think Differently. Mm-hmm. That's so it's all about our belief system. How do you change your thoughts? Did you ever at one point feel like you could not do something, or do you always feel like no matter what you put your mind to, you can make it happen?
Wow. I always felt I could make anything happen, but it didn't always work out that way. So have I failed? Yes. Did I learn? Absolutely. Was it easy? No. Was it worth it? I wouldn't change anything. When you look at our thoughts, first of all, they're baked into that whole paradigm, into our experiences, how we grew up, and how we interpret what was happening around us. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois, in a very impoverished neighborhood. My mom was a single parent working in a grocery store in the day and a dentist's office at night. It's myself and my three sisters. And I always worked hard and found different ways to create money. And I would make additional money and I would ball it up. I don't know why I ball it up and throw it in my sister's in their drawer. I give my mom money. And that was just my role. I was really good at whether I had to shovel snow or rake leaves or carry groceries. I was a paper route, whatever it took. I was going to find a way to make a living, because if I wanted anything extra, I had to find a way to get it and create it. And that's why I tell people, some people are focused on earning a living, when I always wanted to learn how to create a life. When I was a kid, Sophia, my mother took us to see a play, Peter Pan. And that song I heard when I was 5 years old still rings in my heart, and in my spirit, and in my mind. I never forget it. And I never wanted to grow up. I wanted to have that sense of freedom, the sense of freedom. So I've always worked really hard towards it. But without mentorship, you stumble around and you bumble around and you eventually figure it out. And now understanding the power and the importance of having a mentor, someone who can be a great example and someone who can tell, people always say, if I would have known then what I know now, well, we didn't. So if I would have known when I was 20 what I know now, I didn't know it. But now I know how to take it to a 20-year-old and tell them. Now, will they listen? Not at first. But we never hit rock bottom. We kind of hit rock foundation. And if you can put those seeds in there, then I was able to survive homelessness, addiction, and so many other things, because I read stories about people who had done great things, but they went through something that was very traumatic at the time. But I understood if they found a way out, then there is a way out. There's a way to a better life. But when those things happen and when you experience those things, don't beat yourself up, because you get a very unique opportunity to be able to impact the lives of somebody else because of your experiences. So it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. And you make every day a great day, and you make some of them better.
Right. I love that. It's all about the attitude. Now, so 2022 has been a really big year for you then.
Really big year. Oh, yes. Yeah. Business is pretty amazing. But all of them are. But go ahead.
Right. So would you say anything that has happened this year has been pivotal for you? It just made you go to the next level, say possibly level up in any way. Not that you can level up any more than you already have. Yeah.
Well, I'll say it this way. I've been on a positive upward trajectory for many, many years. In the middle of that growth spurt, that's over almost 25 years, I still have gone through cancer and gone through that, and now be cancer free for 5 years. I still had gone through sarcoidosis and been on prednisone, which is a steroid, for 8 years. I still have part of the results of being on that medication is what it does to your bones. I still have had hip replacement, but that hip is 100% now. It feels better than it ever did. And then even this year, I had knee replacement.
Wow.
And now I'm healed from that. And, as you saw, I can walk around fine. And I'm only 7.5 months away from that. And I can't wait for 12 months because it keeps getting better and better and better. It's like we like to say, gooder and gooder and gooder. So the only thing I would say in the middle of that, whether it be United with the growth of JD3TV and Media Company, our streaming platform, the incredible opportunities of people that have come to us that want to be a part of this movement and move it from subscription to membership so we can engage millions and millions of people and impact their lives and get up close and personal and make a lot of friends. Who has 1 million friends? That's going to be pretty cool.
Right.
So with all that, with all of the challenges that I could ever express, they were all necessary. They're still good. And you choose to be happy and you choose to be excited every day. So the people who win, I noticed that they always look at what's next. So I live my life saying, okay, what's next? And the key word there is imagination.
Yes, it is. Because with imagination, you can create anything.
Yes. Yeah. Everything that's seen comes from the unseen, period. Everything that's created once upon a time was never created. From everything I could look around, from light fixtures to mirrors on the wall to the door frames, all these things, the computers, cell phones, but everything needed to create it was always here. So that just didn't drop out of the sky. We just couldn't see it because of our line of sight. So I believe that you can tell the future if you're willing to write it. And if you would write out, like I help people to think about writing out 1,000 goals.
Ooh, 1,000.
And it's tough. That means you got to make everything you do breathing as a goal.
True.
Because you stretch your imagination that way. You have to. And it's a process. You won't be able to do it right away, but you get it. But then you lay out a life legacy plan for 1,000 years. Now, you're probably not going to live 1,000 years. And your children probably won't follow the blueprint exactly. But it's better to have a plan of action or to have a blueprint or a foundation or to put together, it's like putting together a GPS to go a certain direction. And over time, they may change the roads and they may have to move around a little bit. But if you don't do that, it's like we take all our generations and we blindfold them and we give them a pin. It's like pin and tail on a donkey. You spin around in circles and say, go hit something. So instead of being everywhere, just kind of create a direction. And again, if they move away from it, they may make it better, or they may learn it's better to come back towards it. But at least you've laid the foundation. And I'll say this one thing. I noticed that in politics, politicians help make policy that will be here long after they're gone. So it's already being done. It's being done to us. So therefore, we must do it for ourselves to be able to lay out the lifeline of what's going to happen. I believe that, you can do anything. You can tell the future if you're going to write it. So write it out.
Well, and JD3TV, what inspired you to create your own? That's huge.
Yeah. Well, I've been a speaker for many years. I've also been an entrepreneur. I've owned many businesses. And I realize that in business, I teach people how to start, grow, and scale their business. And as a business sculptor, you either solve a problem or you fill a need. And I always look at, again, what's next. So during COVID, my wife and I have been home for many years. She was a double scientist and a physicist, geospatial analyst. She's brilliant. But we're at home. We've been at home together for a lot of years, and we like being home together. Our son, we homeschool him, so everybody's always here. But everybody else was so frustrated, and they were lonely, and they were detached. And all, in the speaking world, no one could have events because no one was in the rooms. But then I would watch, whether it be Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert or it was Conan, whoever I watched, they had no audiences. There's no audience in the studio. Okay. So everything was just different. And everybody was coming in virtually. And I realized that would not go away because I had my finger on the pulse of technology and just looking towards the future, where it's going to take us. And how do we connect and reconnect in a meaningful way through technology? So there were people that were very instrumental in my life. that passed away in 2020. One of COVID, Bernie Dorman, who was the founder of CEO Space, and then Ryan Long, who died in a car accident, who was the founder of the City Gala, City Summit, who really anchored my heart and soul in the nonprofit world and honored me with being the first legacy. I mean, that award, that legacy award, I've been able to pass that award on, and I would pass it on. I gave it to Les Brown the next year. I was able to give it to Richard Dreyfuss. Other awards not at this level we've given to Matthew McConaughey and Ashton Kutcher and Wesley Snipes and Demi Moore. So that award has a Alex Stern and more has the same people make the Oscars to make that. So it's really meaningful because you're really out there in the trenches making a difference that's really measurable. So when they passed away, they were very encouraging to me to go in this direction. And I didn't really want to do it because I didn't have a need to do it. But when all the speaking venues closed down, I said, well, I've trained all these speakers. Let me provide a place for them to get their message out, to build their brand, and then help them monetize and make a difference and build a big global community. And that's when we launched JD3TV. So we would take speakers and people, so many people were putting shows on YouTube and Facebook. And it was so funny, Sophia, because those are great venues, but YouTube was making like $1.5 billion every month, and they weren't paying a lot of that out at all. And nobody got their data. So you got all these millions of views and likes, and everybody was excited, but you don't even know who the people are. But we said, if we create something where people can have their own channel, where we can help them build a show, they can go from a podcast, they can go from anything with video, and we can build a TV show, and you put it on Roku, or you put it on our app, or you put it on a TV network online, that it would look the same, that it'd be pristine. So we had the full support that we created to help them build everything they needed out, the coaching, the support ongoing, and then build a community so they can support each other and teach them how to market themselves to build their brand, but anchored in the fact that you have to give back. As you're succeeding, make a difference in the lives of other people. So we launched JD3 TV, and now we have a variety of television shows. We've got movies, but I'm so proud of the masterclass, because the masterclass is where a person can come in and get over $100,000 worth of value training and pay like $14 a month for it, and then get another community that you pay $20 a month and give it to them free within the same thing. So with that, we're able to make a difference. With our events, we're able to bring those people together, meet them, encourage them, and start putting our hands and touching people where we can help them, if they're ready and if they're willing, to go out there and live the best life they can, to make their families better, their communities better, to become fully self-expressed, to go out there and be the difference that they were seeking.
That's so exciting. All right. So if someone was interested to be a part of this, how would they go about reaching out to you? Or how could they? Or can they?
Yeah. If they were interested in having a show, they could simply go to info@JD3, JD the number 3, media.com. Info, JD3media.com. If they're interested in being a member, because we don't have subscribers, we have members, because they can win trips and prizes and gifts and everything all the time. They simply go to JD3TV.com and they can sign there. But in about a week from now, we're going to launch a brand new experience that's never been done before. And I'm really excited because I know what we're going to offer. You know, we put it together that people who are in the network, that they actually can own a piece of the network.
Oh, nice. I like that.
Yeah. We believe that your success is someone else's miracle. So the more success we can help create, a lot of people can make money, but how many people are really helping others to duplicate themselves and even surpass what they've done? Not many. So that's what we want to do.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check that out. You know, I'm interested. You know, I want to be part of that. You know,
call me directly.
I love the idea of community and, you know, being of service, because, you know, it's not just us. You know, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
You know, and we all have something going on, some sort of challenge that I think is meant for us to grow spiritually, you know, to expand that whole heart and mind consciousness as well. And so when we connect, we learn from each other and can really help each other. And I think to me, that's what life is about.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. None of us reach our potential alone. That's for sure. I know I don't.
No, you are of service. I love that so much. That means so much to me. So when you speak about, you go to these different conferences and you're an inspirational speaker, or like the various books that you've had, it seems like it's all about a mindset to make money. But
Nah.
it seems so much more than that.
Yeah.
To me, your books seem like it's all about soul expansion, how to be a better person, kind of like, in a way, raise your frequency, not just for business, but for life.
Yeah, the money follows the value that you bring. You don't have to. Most people try to earn money. You create that. It's a byproduct that helps you to be able to expand, and it's a measuring tool. But it's also, I mean, none of us can take it with us.
Right.
I think that just pretty much comes by creating value, and creating value is really about service. Every day I wake up, I find out I ask myself, how can I make it better for the people who believe in me, follow me, that need what we have? How do we make it better? How do we, because if we rest and we become obsolete. I always say that your life is like walking up an escalator that's coming down. You either keep stepping, or by default, you lose ground. You got to come back because we get older. We slow down. The things we used to do, we don't do anymore. We have to do it a little bit differently now. So it's always about evolving. It's a grass. They cut a blade of grass every week or every 2 weeks, it grows back. And we want to keep stretching toward the heavens because it's not about money. It's about expression. It's about expression. There's no limits in your living. You ever heard someone say, think outside of the box?
Yes.
I'm a little quirky. I believe there is no box.
Yes.
There's no box, is only possibility. So that is the extension and expansion of God to create from the void. The money just kind of follows it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it seems to me like, I see so many different people out there who are out selling, and they want to be inspirational, but it's always about buy something from me. And I hate that. I mean, I find that to be such a turnoff, but yet they really want to create their career by selling. Is there a type of shift where they can turn that and really make it about life enhancement as opposed to selling a product, or is that possible? Because I mean, there are a lot of people out there where it's just about the item.
Well, I don't think it's so much about selling. People just want something that's going to work for them. And it kind of begins with having clarity on what it is you want in the first place. It is a fact that sales is the number one profession in the world, but we all have to sell. If you have a ministry, I have to sell you on my point of view, on a philosophy. If you're in a relationship, somebody has to sell and somebody has to buy, or nobody gets married. So it depends. And people say, well, that's different. Not really. I just think the end result is that, and I'll be honest with you, when people put things in front of me, they want to sell, sell, sell. If it's something I want, great. If it's something I don't want, then it's okay, because we hate to be sold, but we love to buy. So what I try to teach people in the speaking arena, when it comes to, if they have a program or product, they have to get it out. They have to become fruitful, because if that's their business, their lights are off. Their children don't eat. You have to be able to sell something. Even if you have a job, if you're a barber, you better sell somebody to come in that shop. So, or a beautician, so it's really about being able to deliver measurable results for people. Because here's the thing, if I own something and it's mine alone, if I want to give it away to someone, I can. Somebody can't afford it, you can always give it to them. It's yours. You can gift it. You can attach it to a nonprofit. But you've got to find ways, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges, Sophia, honestly, is that, and I talk about that in our personality traits. You've got to find ways to make money. If you think about, okay, here's a good example. My grandmother passed away, I believe in the 70s, early 70s. The day before she passed, my mother looked at her life insurance policy. It was $800. Now, when she grew up, $800 was a lot of money. I mean, they would go to the movie theater for a nickel, but it wasn't because of inflation. Okay, so now the burden was put on, and I went out and made the money and helped take care of that. When my mother passed away, her life insurance policy was $20,000. That was a lot of money a long time ago. You could do a lot with $20,000. Gasoline when I got my first car was like $1.50 a gallon, if that. I don't even think it was that much. No, it had 59 cents a gallon. Okay, so now it's 10 times that. Okay, so it doesn't matter. When my daughter's mom, first wife, passed, she had a big policy, $300,000, still gone. Few years later, I think the baby was about the one that got the whole 300. The other one's got 100. But they both the two people were out of money in a year. The other person was out of money within 5 years. Because if you build the pocket and you don't build the mind and a financial literacy part of it, you're going to go back to what you know. Again, rock foundation. So we got to figure that thing out, because I think the biggest thing that's missing right now is nobody learns how money works, how insurance policy works, how to secure themselves. And we end up finding ourselves in the same situation. And if a person is fortunate to live to be a 95 or 100, they outlive their insurance policy. Now they're in big trouble. And these are the people who are most vulnerable in nursing homes. They're the most vulnerable because everyone does not have the heart to be able to take care of another human being and will exercise it, because it's one of the hardest things you can do, but you can do it if you care. But if you're not that person that can handle that, it's not a good situation for either one. So we've got to kind of figure this thing out in the balance of money, because I'll be honest with you, for the most part, I would say 100% of the people who I give something to, it never works out. And that doesn't I'm going to stop giving it, but it doesn't work. Because if there is some type of price to pay, even if it's an exchange of work or value or something there, or the commitment that you're going to give back to other people, something there that makes us strive to do better, then we really don't even appreciate it. So it's a catch-22 there, but I don't like those sales pitches either. I mean, if I have events, I'll have 20 people speak, maybe 2 will offer something. And it's either that or they're going to spend more money to get in the venue because somebody's got to pay for the room. Right, exactly. Yeah, somebody's got to do it. Right. Yeah. And even if you want to get sponsors, you got to sell.
It's a universal law, right? The whole.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, I just think it means from the heart that what's your intention? I'll give you a good example. I never had to speak to pay bills. That was a blessing I had. So I was not I'm not better than anybody. I'm just different, that my business model is not there to pay my bills. My network, we've been open 2 years when we started. We did the official launch 1 year and 8 months ago. And I burned through at least $25,000 a month for 2 years. In fact, I'm making a penny, but I got a ton of employees, about 15 full-time, some part-time, and contractors that get paid every 2 weeks. So it's a trade-off with that. You got to look at it from a standpoint to be a good business person. You've got to be able to be able to turn it on, create value, and bring revenue. You got to do it. The difference is that, and I'll give you this, even when I did my speaker programs and people would buy them, I can easily give them money back because I never needed to pay my bills. But the only time I've had to do that, if they got it from someone else who was in my venue, and I took the responsibility to take care of that client and keep going because of something somebody else does. But no, you want things to work for people, and then it's okay. Right. It's okay.
Right. Well, yeah. I love how you connect with people. You never talk at a person, or above person. You always talk, directly with a person. You make a person feel present, which is a rare thing. Some people don't really know how to connect, and you connect more than just words. There's something about you that is like when you talk with someone, you are like connecting to their soul. And I love that so much. And I think if our politicians knew how to do that, life would be so much better.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, but I think that's such a gift. And is that something you can teach, or is that something?
Oh yeah, I teach it. I do teach it. There's an exercise I call it being with, and in this exercise, I have a camp coming up December 8th, 9th, and 10th, and People would stand in front of another person and they would be really close, not touching, but so close, just about there. And the idea is to just make eye contact and let yourself be seen, not to stare down the other person, to relax and be present with another human being, to be present. Energy is transferable. And when you're speaking, you're not just speaking from your lips into the ears, you're speaking into the nervous system of another human being. You're speaking into their life force. That's that frequency, energy. And energy is always moving and it can be transferred to another person. So a person should not just hear you, they should feel you. And a person who is receiving that cannot get scared and run from it because they will. So when they're staring there, people will laugh and giggle and look away. And that's the nerves. They're not ready to be present. If you're going to be on that stage, you want to be present because that speaker, that orator, that keynote, you're not the star when you're in that role. You're the director. The audience is the star.
Yes.
And you only have one job, is to help them win an Oscar, to get an understanding, a meeting, a breakthrough, something that says I'm okay, or something through your story, even if it's terrible, your story can help someone who's sitting in an audience who's dying inside, but they look like $1 million. They say, okay, I can make it. And tomorrow's a better day. That's the role. So you have to be present and you speak into the life. And yes, you can teach that.
Wow. I mean, and is this something that because I know you've worked with several companies, with employees and leaders of companies. Is this something that you teach them too? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it transfers. See, it's not just the company, it's how you show up in your house. And it's an ongoing process, how you show up everywhere you go. Who do you really want to be and become? And again, the biggest challenge is that most of us do not have any clarity of what it is we want because we don't even ask ourselves the question until there's a need or we feel frustrated, which is a self-imposed emotion. But what do you really want? What do you want? I asked the person, what do they want? And they said, what do you mean? What do you really want? If you could have everything in the world, what would you want? And once they get past the houses, because that's not it. And once they get past saving their mother, because that's not it. I keep asking, but okay, you have that. Okay, that's crap. Don't worry. What do you want? And when their voice cracks, they get really close. When a tear comes in the corner of their eye, they get close. When a tear comes down, then they're almost there. We just want to be somebody to know what's our purpose. Are we okay? Are we worthy of being here? Does somebody care about us? Is it okay? Why can't I just be happy? But damn it, just be happy.
Exactly. That's just it. Just be. Just be. So simple, yet the most challenging thing in life, it seems.
Yeah. Hardest thing to be is just to be. You said it.
You don't need any of these masks. You don't need to keep up with the Joneses. You don't need to be anyone else, just yourself. And that's the most terrifying. Why is that?
Yeah. And you have to have that whether you have money or not. So money is just a byproduct. I believe that not only is your success someone else's miracle, how could you help a lot of people if you can't help yourself? But also when you decide not to win, somebody else loses. Because people are watching you. Kids are watching you, your family's watching you, your friends are watching you. And sometimes you can be the catalyst that gives them the faith and confidence that maybe that they can do it too. They may say, oh, she can do it. Sophia can do it. She's different. She always was different. That's a cop-out, just because we don't want to face the challenges and inadequacies that we have in life. But we all have them. We just always have something to work on, and we just have to work on it and work through it. But it has nothing to do with who you can be and how you can show up. When I realized, Sophia, that I could love everybody. Now, loving everybody and being in love with everyone is two different things. See, if I love everyone, that means it's not like a lot of people say, well, they have to love me first or this or that. Well, then it's based on conditions. I can love you across the street. I don't require you to be right here. I can love you over there because now I am inner directed and not outer directed. I am not driven by your behavior. Now I would address something that I feel is inappropriate or something that I don't like, and I can love you across the street and a parking lot. Because if my emotions are driven by your actions, I got a problem. I'm going to lose 100% of the time with that one. So that means I'm outer directed. I'm not internally directed. When you look at, I like to talk about, from creation,
Mhm.
we are 70% water. So is the earth. And when we are conceived, we are 90% water. We have an egg, you have sperm, it's water. You're a glove. There's no bones in there, no cartilage, no eyeballs, no black hair, nothing there, no fingernails. It's just liquid.
Mhm.
And if you took an acorn, you saw the potential of the oak tree is in this acorn. The
Mhm.
first thing is that the acorn has to be planted in the right environment. So when you have the right environment, that's the host, the mom, who is going to take her cell and DNA, and everything has to run to create that baby. Everything that mother eats affects that baby. Everything she feels affects that baby. That's why vibration and frequency is so important. There's
Mhm.
no actual language, but there's always language because everything in the universe speaks.
Yes.
Everything speaks. And that's why if we get in the backyard or lay out in the park or on the beach, it's relax. Listen to the birds, listen to the water. Everything speaks.
Mhm.
Okay. And if we're in tune and we can relax, we get it. And our whole body, our whole energy just kind of floats. Now we're in harmony with the things we should be in harmony with. So now as this baby is developing, there's no brain going, but these cells have to communicate and have to be in agreement with each other.
Mhm.
And that's how you know how to make, okay, you got to have a knee joint here, cartilage here. We got to milk up. We need a shin bone there. We got to come up here. And then starts putting this thing together. And it puts all this together. And nobody is consciously is creating this. It's all happening. So on a cellular level, these cells are always talking and they're always building, they're always manifesting, and they never quit till the day we're gone. And even after we're gone, they still operate until they know it's time for them to go too. They just move. They keep us alive all night during our sleep. Our brain doesn't have to do that. This brain can be gone. Gone. This body will keep going. It keep going until you take it from it. So, on a cellular level, this consciousness that we have that is so powerful, that's bigger than what's on the surface. So that's when you're inner directed, you can tap back in and be still and know.
Mhm.
And then you can see better. You get
Yes.
better clarity, your peace, harmony, gratitude, all that stuff. Just it's okay.
And,
That's the best part of all of us. And if we understood who we were, then we would not. If we understood how we fit, we would act like misfits.
this is true.
Yeah.
What
Yep.
is what is the easiest or best way to do that? Just come to that inner direction.
Well, first of all, it's meditation.
Mhm.
You just be still. I think the biggest part, it begins with awareness. When you're aware that there's more and it's possible, then you're open. Okay. Then you have to seek the knowledge, and no matter what it takes. Like people say, well, I don't want to go to this program. I don't want to spend money on this. Well, what are you really worth? What are you worth versus what are you settling for? Because a person would tell me, well, I'm priceless. I say, you mean to tell me if I would give you $10 million, you wouldn't give me one of your eyeballs? I would say, no. What if I gave you 50 million, give me one eye and one arm? You got another good arm. You can put another arm, put a prosthesis on this side. No. So I'll keep going. And the person said, no, I'm priceless. I say, what are you settling for? Because they're working a job or even they're working in their business and they're settling as if making money is a bad thing. How do you help 9 nonprofits if you can't write a check? How do you
Exactly.
inspire somebody that they can do it if you don't do it? You have to move beyond that. And it's not focusing on money. It's about expression.
Yes.
Said, you don't need all that hair, but that hair is not going. It's not growing because how you feel. It grows because that's what it does.
Yes.
Expresses grass. It expresses.
Mhm.
See, get out of here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. So many people, we just feel myself included. Yes, I admit to it. Sometimes I feel stuck,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, I have to do this, but I personally, I'm working towards, expanding that. It's like, I can do this. I am doing this.
You get to do this.
Yeah. And it's a blessing. And,
Yeah.
but it's so interesting to see how people, no matter what age you are, you have the ability to shift your consciousness. know that you can do it,
Yes.
is there. And I love that you are inspiring people to see that,
Yeah.
and not only see it, but take action on it.
Yeah. Well, it begins with imagination. When you say the word imagine, your brain will go to whatever comes next after that word. If I say imagine a blue sky, your brain will start seeing a blue sky.
Right.
Yeah. So it begins right there. So what are you thinking about? What are you dwelling on? What are you imagining? Or are you just looking at your bills and complaining about what's wrong or what you have to do? And because you're manifesting more of what you want every single moment and more of what you don't want based upon what it is you're focused on.
Okay. So what's up next for you? What do you want?
Well, my goal is within 5 years, we're going to take our network public, JD3 Media, or we're going to sell it. We're building in the next year. We're building an international platform, so it would be a sister company. My focus is in 5 years. All I want to do is teach entrepreneurs how to grow businesses and how to scale, because there's such a small percentage that will ever scale, and most people don't even know what it is. And I want to work with my nonprofits and philanthropy. That's all I really want to do. Everything else is pretty good. And it gets super healthy, of course. I'm off all these steroids and all this other crap. So get super healthy, help our nonprofits, and help entrepreneurs how to grow and create and to live their best life.
And so would you say you're living your best life?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Every day, look, honestly, and that's no exaggeration, and people may not believe it, but nobody ever said they didn't. So I'm not just going to put that out there. I have been happy every day for at least 2 decades. And I choose it. When the doctors told me I had cancer, my wife, she was amazed because I just came home and I still did my calls. I still do what I do. I don't sit and complain. I'm really going to live now. You tell me you may shorten it. Okay, let's go.
Right.
Because I get to choose. I get to choose these things. Okay. Nobody's going to be here forever. So it doesn't matter. A young kid went up to Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. And after he was speaking, he said, Dr. Peale, that was great. May I ask you a question? And Dr. Peale said, yes, young man. What is it? He said, how old are you? He says, I'm 91. And the young man says, I don't know if I want to live to be 91. Dr. Peale said, that's because you've never been 90. You get what you get, man, but you can choose. I was homeless once, Sophia, and I was still inspiring and motivating. Well, I like the word inspiration. People were so amazed. They would tell me later, you didn't have a place to go, but I was going to some of my friends' job who worked third shift because I would help them with their business, and then I would go to bed on the couch and leave there and take a shower if there was a shower, before their coworkers came. And I was just positive because I was on path and purpose. It didn't matter what was happening. I knew where I was going. I knew. And the only reason I knew is because my mentors, and they were younger than I was 32 and they were 27. My mentors told me they were homeless at 24 and millionaires at 28. And they said to 16 of us, he said, you will be the top money earners here. But before I teach you how to make money, I will teach you who you must become. And I say the same thing. I repeat it the same way like they do in the movies when the next class comes in. You say the same thing that they told you because it was true, to let people know that. But there's an old saying that says, treat a child as they are, they may remain the same. But if you treat them as they could be, they can grow into what they should be. So you are what you're conscious of being. You pray as if you've already received it. You live your life by what you expect, not by what you want.
Yes.
What do you expect?
Yeah. And you can be any age to realize that.
Oh, yeah. Claire Pullard was 88. She says, where's the beef? And everybody got famous. What's his name? Colonel Sanders was 65 years old with 11 herbs and spices with a little recipe, retired. 1,008 people said no to him. Most people would have been back to seasoning salt and pepper. They would have just dumped that 11 herbs out of the window. Ray Kroc was 54 years of age. Oprah Winfrey was abused. Wilma Rudolph couldn't walk. She wins gold medals. Okay, when they get done with all the excuses, let's start making it happen. Be the exception to the rule. Because if you look at with 90% water, 2 little pieces of DNA coming together that made you, and put all this stuff together, don't tell me what you can't do because you're not even aware of it.
Yep. If you can imagine it, it's possible.
That's
so
it.
okay, so then that goes to say, be aware of what you imagine, right? So if you will stay in a positive, uplifting space that is of creation that will serve you and humanity, it's a lot better than constantly imagining death and doom, which a few people I know do. So that's quite an awesome power.
Well, I had to get there. I wasn't always there. I had to get, every couple of weeks, every 2 weeks, I got fresh flowers in the house for my wife. Every single day we wake up, we love each other all over again. All like it's day one. I don't even go on yesterday's stuff, day one. You choose that every day. Every day I choose it. You have to anchor yourself with your kids, with your family, with your expectations, what you want. And if you're in a situation that you want more, okay, then work towards it. But study, read, ask yourself simple questions like, what does it look like to have the life I really want to create? Who has it? What did they do to get it? And if I won't pick up a book to read about what they put in it, then I'm already going to lose. I'm already in a problem because I'm operating from a limited scope. Okay, once upon a time, everyone thought the world was flat. And that was their truth. Mm-hmm. And they weren't going too far because the world was flat until somebody went farther and it's like, okay, it's round. And now that people said the world was flat, they still don't go any further. They still just stay in their same neighborhood. So, you have to read and learn the stories. That's why it's so important for people to tell their story. That's why JD3 is there, so people can leave their legacy, tell their story. It has meaning, it has life. Your kids, if your grandkids most people don't know who their great-great-grandparents are, which means your great-great-grandkids will never know you existed. But you know what will know? Your DNA knows on a cellular level because that great-great-grandchild has your nose and that child never seen you, and they have your ways or they have your voice. They've never seen you, but they have it. So internally, you're already there. You have to move from here outside.
That's wonderful. Yep. I so enjoy speaking with you. And I have to ask you. Your wife, Dr. Kara Scott, correct? Uh-huh. She has a doctorate also in science. You said
she's a double scientist and a physicist and a geosphere. She used to work with Homeland Security with nuclear power plants for the federal government in her 20s, and for about 10 years. And she retired at 36.
That's so awesome. So cool. All right, I'm sorry. I'm so excited because she's doing it just like you. You're doing it, and you have
she's a smart one.
Okay, but so I mean, you're both incredibly smart. You're both living your life without excuses. Whatever comes at you, you just keep going forward. You're being present in the moment, and you're taking what is given to you and you're making it happen for you instead of against you. And I admire that so much. And I would love to see more people do that as opposed to fall victim or have excuses, because talent and creativity is in each and every one of us. And what you choose to do with it makes the difference. Yes. So you are my hero.
Oh, bless you. They say, if you're smart, you can open up a few doors. If you're brilliant, you can open up a lot of doors. But if you're vibrant, the doors open up for you. And I think the key is to get to the point when you say present in the moment. Present in the moment means you're in tune. That means everything that's happening fast, you can slow it down and you can respond. It's like the Matrix. You're just fending bullets going past, right? No big deal. But when you're vibrant, you will attract those things, because Tobler's law, my wife taught me this. Tobler's law says that things that are like the same are closer to things that are not alike the same. So if you want more, then you get around people who want more. They show up a certain place. If somebody wants to be in film, you go to some place where the people who want to be in film will be. You're not in the auditorium at the Santa Monica Film College because you just happen to be stumbled up and you're bored to death, need a place to nap. You like film, or you're not in the room. Exactly. You're in that world. So it's really about immersing ourselves, first of all, in the minds through books. Google and YouTube is great, but I'm really a fan of books because you will activate more parts of your senses in your learning. So do both.
Mm-hmm.
Do both. Read, study, find out, ask yourself better questions. Where are the people I'm looking for? Where are they at? What do they want? How can I provide even more value? Who's the best at it? And how can I put an edge into it? How can I give them? I'm making it, everybody can make it. A lot of people can make an apple pie, but how do I make my apple pie a little bit better?
Mhm.
And you got to play with it.
Add your own special flair to it, right?
Yeah, everybody has that relative that makes that dish so that nobody else can touch it. We
Right.
only want that, right? So,
Exactly.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Make it fun.
You have a busy month. It sounds like all of December is booked up for you,
Yes.
right? Are you going to celebrate the holidays?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, December. Yeah, we're going to take off. And we were going to go to Bahamas to the Atlantis,
Mhm.
but instead we're going to go downtown Chicago. And we have a place called Navy Pier, which everyone in the world comes to visit. And there's a hotel there that overlooks Lake Michigan on two corners. So we got the corner suite. We're going to take I have a 10-year-old, a 25-year-old, and a 32-year-old. So I'm going to take that 10-year-old and my 10-year-old grandson, who happens to have the same name.
Nice.
And they're best friends. And we're going to go hang out and go to Winterfest. And I'll teach them how to ice skate. And they can play with all the different winter Christmas wonders that they have at Winterfest in Chicago.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, we'll sit down for 5 days.
Wow. And you're traveling to Las Vegas?
Yes. Oh, you know my entire schedule. Yep. Vegas and two. I have a speaker training camp the 8th, 9th, and 10th. The 11th, I go to Vegas. And then I'll sit tight. Well, we have about 15 to 20 events and productions next year. Most of them in Chicago, and some I just found out I'm going to Miami. The cryptocurrency company that wants me in Dubai, they're having 6 to 8 more events in the United States next year. So I'll be a part of those. And the people who do all the movies with Think and Grow Rich, Power of Thought, we have a premiere coming up. They just got off the phone earlier today. And something in January, something else in March. So 3 weeks in March are gone. And
off 2023 with a bang. It's like, yeah, baby, let's go.
Yeah, well, you want to go into the year with momentum, not start it. You want to ramp it up all the way through 2022, and when you take off, the hardest thing in taking a rocket off the ground or airplane is getting it off the ground. That's why all the energy is up, and when the energy is there, once it gets off the ground, then you can ride.
Right, and that's what you're doing it. That's so exciting. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in Vegas because I'm going to be there.
Yes.
And I'm so excited for the opportunity to go. So thank you so much. It's going to be. I'm looking forward to it.
We'll have some fun. We'll have some fun in Vegas
and get that momentum going, and just start 2023 with a boom.
Yes. And let's let everybody know about your podcast and get your message out. And hopefully let's talk about getting you a part of JD3TV on your podcast, or just make it into a show. Build out the brand. More people need to hear what you have to say and the people you're inviting to the podcast. So I'm proud of you, and congratulations on all the work you're doing and stepping out to say, look, I've got a voice I want to share with the world, and you actually doing it. So thank you.
Well, inspiration, right? You inspire me so much. I hope to inspire people by sharing you, and see how people can raise their own vibration and just make a better life for themselves, because that changes everything.
Yes, indeed it does. Well, people will be able to come into our network in a free membership, and they'll be able to get my book downloaded for free.
Oh, which one?
The last one is called 5 Frequencies of High Performance.
Okay. All right. You have quite a few books.
I've got about 4, but that's the last one. Yeah.
That's kind of cool. And the Power of Thought, is that something people can see on JD3TV also?
The Power of Thought will be coming out to JD3TV in the next 30 days. We'll launch that. It was produced by Don and Melinda Boyer, David Ibarra, who is the largest licensee of the Think and Grow Rich documentary brand. Don and Melinda have done 16 other movies from Beyond the Secret and kept going. They keep going. And John Sakaris, who's also a executive producer of that movie. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry I missed it when it was in Santa Monica for the festival.
We'll have it in about the next 30 days on JD3 TV.
I look forward to it. Thank you so very much. And Sir Dr. James Dentley. I love how that sounds.
Thank you.
Sir Doctor.
You're making me say like that. That sounds pretty cool.
Yes. It's like, yes, you are doing it. All right, my friend. Thank you so very much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Have a beautiful day. And I look forward to seeing you in Vegas. I hope I can make it through the crowd. Say, hey.
Oh, stop it. I'll be right there. I'll be in the corner sitting by myself. Come get me.
I'll sit in front.
All right. Continue success. Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Mwah. Thank you.
Bye-bye.